Authorities in northwest China are looking for informants, and they're willing to pay. And one of the things they're looking for is people who have beards. They're worried that those who have beards are potential hazards to society, and so they've set up this informant program. The campaign is currently offering rewards ranging from 50 yuan to up to 50,000 for a wide range of intelligence, from those wearing beards to spreading information to topple the authorities. So, different ends of the spectrum, but both of them are potential hazards to society. And now this is not just some random hatred for facial hair. There is, of course, a religious and an ethnic component to it, because, of course, people in northwest China who are likely to be wearing beards are not likely to be ethnically Han Chinese. They're more likely to be Muslims, Uighurs, for instance.
It's a good thing I don't have a beard on.
Exactly.
Right?
You catch him on a weekend or something.
It's not me. Okay. Lizette's right. We were talking about it off air before. They're called Uighurs here in the American media, but it's the same group as my last name, Uighur, right? But I'm not a Uighur, which is funny, right? Our family named ourselves in Turkey after that group. So we're not part of that ethnic group, right? So that ethnic group is, of course, oppressed in China. They want independence. China has no interest in giving them independence. And one of the ways that China oppresses them is by cutting off their freedom of religion. Now, of course, the China Daily, which is basically a mouthpiece for the Chinese government, says freedom of religious beliefs and practices are respected and protected throughout the country. Well, that's funny because the state-run Global Times said, we're putting out this bounty of 50 to 50,000 yuan for any, quote, illegal religious activities.
Yeah.
And facial hair.
Which includes wearing a veil as well, right? And in some cases, people don't get their welfare benefits if they refuse to cut off their beards or if they refuse to take off their veil. So clearly they're discriminating against these people in a very legal, structured, and systematic fashion. So no, don't give me this bullshit that you're like giving people freedom of religious beliefs. You're actively implementing in your system disincentives for it.
You know what I like about Lisette? She does like incredibly eloquent points and then goes, don't give me this bullshit.
It's like, whoa.
Okay.
You know they're not coming down on the Fu Manchu beard. So
that's borderline racialist.
It's totally hypocritical, but that's a badass beard. That's a good beard. That's how you can't have a martial arts movie without a couple guys with the Fu Manchu beard.
Isn't it crazy how different parts of the world are? Like in northwest China right now, you can be reported to the authorities for having a beard. And in Brooklyn, hipsters are getting beard transplants just so that they can have the thing.
Yeah, and before I got to the Uyghur part and the Muslim part, I was like, why do the Chinese hate hipsters?
Exactly.
Do they find them subversive and dangerous? Trust me, they're just trying to be cool.
Yeah, okay, skinny jeans.
They're not actually subversive.
But of course, the discrimination against that group goes much beyond worries about beards. There have been previous massacres back in 2009. At least 200 people were killed, over 1,000 injured in one particular attack in the regional capital there. Yeah. And so, of course, things are much worse there. But sometimes I like when we talk about stories like this, because seeing it in another country can allow us to sort of psychologically distance ourselves from it. And then maybe in hindsight afterward realize that perhaps we're not that much better in our part of the world. In France, there's major discrimination against Muslims. In parts of Germany, in the UK, in the US, we do profiling against Muslims. The NYPD just shut down its special investigative unit that was looking into Muslim students. Like, yeah, it's worse in China, but it's bad here too, and we should care about both.
We should absolutely care, especially because we don't know what the unintended consequences are here as well. So we like to think that because we're discriminating against this group, it's going to go away. But really what can happen is that people have psychological reactions, and this prosecution actually reaffirms their beliefs in Islam, right, and their religion, and just makes them want to like put it in your face more, or like indoctrinate you, or drop bombs, or whatever, right? Those are extreme examples, but we think that we're doing something good, and we're good by getting rid of this group. Obviously, it's an evil thing, but they think they're doing something to get rid of the group, and really, perhaps they're doing completely the opposite.
And that's some bullshit, right? Okay.
And the only way you can really get rid of it, of course, is if you really get rid of it. which they're probably not prepared to do.
Yeah, which you can't do.
I mean, you
anyway.
can, right? You
come
can't.
on.
Right. I
Yeah.
mean, you can Stalin it up.
That's what I was going to say. That's if
Well, like
the
you said,
guy who
a couple
tried that the
hundred
most
times.
was Stalin in the Soviet Union, and look at what happened to Russia now. They're more religious than they've ever been, in a sense, and Putin is going more in that direction, and that's why they have all the anti-gay propaganda that they have now. And Lisette's absolutely right. I'm as secular as it gets, and I can't stand fundamentalist religion of any sort. I'm against it 100%. But I would never ban it. I wouldn't discriminate against it because, if anything, it's counterproductive. Because when you try to ban something, that means you're afraid of it. You're trying to run away from it. Whereas if you're really secular or if you're atheist or agnostic, I mean, debating religion, have at it, Hoss. Come and get some, right? There's no reason in the world to be afraid of that. And so you should engage it, not do this. And whether it's France, the U.S., or China, even if you're the most atheist, secular person there is, you're missing the point of secularism. It's not to ban religion. It's not to be against religion. It's to allow all thought.
Yeah.